7:30 on June 7th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Treasurer Hart?
Here.
Trustee Babel?
Here.
Trustee Blackstock? Trustee Natz?
Here.
Trustee Richley?
Here.
Okay. Clerk Smith here, Supervisor Roush?
Here. All right, follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, moving into the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? If not, a motion to approve the agenda as presented would be in order.
So move.
All right, we have a motion, we have a support to accept the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval of the minutes for May 17th, 2021 in your packets.
We have the public hearing minutes and the regular meeting minutes.
If we have no questions on the minutes, a motion to approve would be in order.
I so move to approve the
Support.
minutes.
All right, we have a motion, we have a support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes carry. Approval of the minutes carry. We have no presentations or guest speakers tonight. We also have no public comment, it appears. So we'll move into the approval of the consent agenda, also in your packets. If there's no questions, a motion to approve would be in order.
I move that we approve this consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All right, we have a motion, we have a support to accept the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. Disbursements. We have total payroll direct deposits for $75,446.73. Accounts payable, $136,162.76. EFTs of $72,386.66. E-checks of $302.30. Invoices of $62,585.19 for a grand total of $346,883.64.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I support.
All right, we have a motion, we have a support to pay the bills in the amount of $346,883.64. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock? Trustee Natz?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Roush?
Yes. All right, pay the bills. Moving into old business, we have the second reading of ordinance 320.
Need to just read the title.
Sure.
Ordinance 320, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 480, Article 2, Section 480-5, Chapter 480, Article -4, Section 480-11, Chapter 480, Article 4, Section 480-12. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend the keeping of animals. And I move for its adoption.
All right, we have a motion, we have a support to adopt ordinance number 320. Any further discussion? Hearing none, do we need roll call?
Yeah, let's do roll call. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Natz?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Roush?
Yes. All right, one step closer. All right, moving into new business. New business number one, this is modification to the lift station of the SCADA system. I did talk with Blaine about this the other day. Basically, it's more of a fail-safe so that we don't have a transducer fail without having any kind of alarm. This is a system where it would monitor every foot of water instead of just instead of one system that would just tell you exactly where it's at. This is more of a steppable gauge alarm system, yeah. So they'll be able to see it in better scale. They have one he mentioned on Meisner Road that's been working great, so they would like to go with that one in this other pump station. Yeah,
Is this just one lift station?
correct.
It is a specific one?
Yeah, it was, I don't recall which one it was. I thought it was for the
We got this gadget on Meisner, right?
yes. So this is like the
it's-
longer,
It's something other than the Meisner Road lift.
so it's something other than the
This is
Meisner
for the
Road.
Pardon me?
hospital lift.
The hospital
At
lift?
the northern end.
It's the hospital one?
Right.
Okay,
We
thank
had
you.
some issues with that one recently.
Yeah, so it would be, that one unit and just something that Blaine feels would be more reliable, since they've had some good success with the one on Meisner Road.
Now, are all the lift stations going to be eventually updated with this?
Well, we have the other lift stations that are gonna be rebuilt as part of the other
Yeah, that's true.
loans, so.
That was my next
Is-
question.
I was gonna
Is this
ask why
going
the
on-
other ones are not. He
Yeah.
talks about lift stations in here, but you said it's just one.
Is
And I
this
was
one
wondering
going
if
on
it's
one that's going to be?
$3,700 a piece,
For,
or $3,700 for one, for three or four of
yeah,
them?
it does say for each lift station, doesn't it?
We could approve the one just for the hospital lift station, I suppose, and if he wants, what I'm concerned about is the price. Is that,
Yeah,
is that price for all the lift stations, or that just for one?
Yeah.
It's kind of steep for just one, if all they're putting in is one
Well,
SCADA.
the quote's on the backside here, so,
It says alarm, so
yeah, to monitor lift stations and initiate an alarm based on inactivity. Yeah, so it's basically, it's that, and it also tells you, the logic on if the pump hasn't ran in, 30 minutes, it can send an alarm out.
Okay, I'm just being stupid. The cost, they talk about multiple lift stations, and they give you one cost. Is that per lift station, or is that for all of them? And I'd be happy to approve it if that's the cost for one station,
Right.
but I don't want to get nailed for 4 lift stations times $3,700.
Great. Yeah, we can go that route. We can approve this based on one, and we can come back to the table for the others if needed, or if this covers all of them, then we're safe there.
right. As long as
Because
we
it says
put
the
that amount.
estimated time on site is, okay, it just says 2 days.
But we don't know if this is the cost for one or multiple,
But
so.
we're only going to approve this amount,
Right.
correct? So
Only gonna
it'll
approve
either be
this
one or,
But it's
We can
kind of
find
steep
that
for
out.
just one. That's
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah, it seems like it would be for all. I mean, they reference at,
Lift stations.
Is there any way we can
Table it till the
postpone
next
this
Yeah.
and get
meeting?
more detail?
yeah, this is I don't think this is gonna harm anything by postponing it for 2 weeks. So, I have a,
This doesn't appear to be an emergency, it's just something that he needs to have done.
yeah, it's something that's gonna be a better system, so we don't have any failures
Yeah.
with,
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until the information to be specifically which lift stations and how much per lift station.
I support.
we have a motion to support the table this until the next meeting. New business one for the lift station SCADA system. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Don't like approving open-ended stuff.
Yeah, I agree. All right, new business 2, MTA memberships and dues. So this is something we do every year to be part of the MTA. Basically just looking for the annual payment.
Cindy, you recall, I'm pretty sure we approve usually the regular amount, but we decline the legal fund.
Historically, that's what I've found.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what the reasoning is, or if there was something,
I think the reasoning was that we pay our attorneys.
Already, yeah, for advice.
That was the issue.
well, so, I think if you read further into it, what that really is the MTA legal defense, which is they go to the state capitol and go to the federal to represent our interests. So it's not really a lawyer issue, it's more of they're gonna present our
Lobbying.
stance on all the issues that come before townships. So that's to provide more sustenance to that.
What do
program.
we usually do?
But I think there was a misunderstanding maybe on exactly what it was, you're not paying to get legal advice. I mean, we get that from the attorneys at MTA all the time anyway. But this added amount is described in the letter as to what our legal team, they'll dissect all the bills that are being presented, and they'll make sure that they have a unified, presence when things are up for votes at the state and national level.
I'm scared. This is new. What do we usually do?
Well, it's always been on there.
No, I'm saying,
We did not used to pass the legal defense fund, at least until 2018, when I was here. We always
But
declined
I
that
don't know the
part.
reasoning behind it, other than what Herb said, and I'm not sure if that's,
well, there's two items on it.
Clarified,
What do
so.
we normally fund? Both of them?
no.
The annual
historically,
dues.
I've seen you prove it with the base and not the added optional legal defense.
Okay, thank you.
So we actually have 3 things on here. We have the membership dues, the legal defense, and then the option of this online learning subscription for either $1,000 or $1,900.
And that's new as of this year. They really have developed their online, based on what's happened in the last year. They've really developed their online opportunities for learning.
So is there any interest in more online learning? I mean, what did we pay, Cindy, for the last one? It was like $250 for the whole board to have access
For one.
for one class.
Section, one
Right.
class.
So we would have to do that at
Yeah.
least 4 times to make it worth it.
I'm not interested. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other ones that are like $125 a class too, so it all varies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is a good deal if we use it.
Yeah, but we gotta be, I would be in favor of approving the membership dues only.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Want to make that a motion, Ralph?
Okay, if nobody's objects, yes, I'll make a motion that we pay the Michigan Township Association membership dues in the amount of $6,048.20, period.
I'll support that.
All right, we have a motion, we have support to pay the membership dues in the amount of $6,048.20 and decline the legal defense and the optional online learning subscription. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Natz?
Yes,
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Roush?
Yes. All right. Moving into new business 3, which is the Workers' Compensation Fund Annual Policy. This is the one you have to have. Not a lot of arguing in this one.
That's pretty good, though, if we have a dividend credit of $8,042.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
well, it's not something you can get out of, so I guess.
Nope.
So I'll make a motion to approve the MML Workers' Comp Fund premium payment in the amount of $11,786 for coverage from July 1st, 21 to July 1st of 22.
I'll support.
We have a motion, we have a support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Natz?
Yes,
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Roush?
Yes. All right. Moving into new business 4, the Mterra contract. So this obviously in front of you is not the contract. They're typing it up based on what we decide here as far as which option we would like to go with. So they came to us with a 3-year term option with the rates shown here at $11.95 for year 1 and 2, and year 3 increasing by the little under 3%. It's a little bit more than what we're paying currently, which is $11.57, but as everybody knows, everything keeps going up in price. So I spoke with them about trying to get them to honor year 3 at the same price to lock in at $11.95, to which they came back with the second option of a 5-year, reflecting 3% increases in year 4 and 5.
it isn't gonna get any cheaper.
No, it's definitely not.
I'm always in favor of taking the long one if they're gonna make the offer, because you wait 4 or 5 years from now and try to do this again, your chances of it being the same or lower are 0.
So we did have them come into the office here. We chatted about the biggest complaint in the whole township is the landscape, recycling bins. I got landscape from. But, so they did mention that there's really no limit on the recycle bins. They know that they're kind of cheaper made. They get destroyed, so they'll keep refilling us as much as necessary. They also referenced that we put out to the residents that they can use whatever recycle bins they want, any kind of tote, and we have stickers here now that they can put on them as recycles. So that was an option, and no extra cost, so.
I don't know about else, I've had no complaints from the neighbors, residents that I've talked to concerning their service. And they've been picking stuff up for quite a few years for us.
Yeah, it's been 5 years they've been now, so.
Is there a limit in the size of the tote?
No, I asked that, and they said it's basically as long as they're not something
I
abnormal.
think weight
Can you
limit's
use
like
a
50
regular
pounds.
trash
but
can, is it?
Yeah,
That's what I wonder. Yeah.
Has anybody ever checked on, like, a Michigan-based company, like, in the United States, not the Canadian company?
well, I know Larry did, and it was 25,000 cheaper when we first signed with Mterra. Over
Per
waste
year.
per year,
Over a 3-year contract.
yeah, over waste management. The man from Mterra basically said too that most of these garbage companies aren't taking any new customers right now because they're having a hard time manning what they have. Not as a scare tactic, but just to be realistic, so.
Yeah, Mterra kind of has a monopoly around here, unfortunately.
Well, they
Yeah,
have the best price.
Yeah.
We sacrificed a little bit in service when we lost waste management, because
Yeah.
they were very
Mhm.
spot on. But I think we were adjusting over the years in order to save some money.
so I mean, if it's something that we wanna go with a 3-year and then look at different options 3 years from now, or we could, like Ralph said, take the 5-year and not have to worry about it.
I vote for a 5-year.
Good with that.
So I guess for tonight, we're just looking at, no action needed, just kind of maybe a vote on which way we have them write the contract up for approval. So we have a 5-year from Ralph. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Are we completely and totally locked in to the 5-year if something else better comes along?
You will never
It's a-
find
it's
anything
a
better than
contract.
12:30.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only thing. it's
that's
binding
the only thing
contract.
I'm worried about.
Right, I mean, the only way that we save that extra 30 cents or
Yeah.
20 cents on year 3 is to lock into the 5-year.
Right.
You'll find waste management's probably $1 higher.
I like the
every
5-year.
one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm torn, but I don't know.
Alan, what are your thoughts?
I would lean towards the 5 years so that we don't have to worry about it,
Okay.
because not only are we gonna save money in the short term, but, potentially in the long term, so.
Yeah.
Gas prices and stuff like that, they're going out of control, and it's like, so I think it might be a better deal to stick with the 5-year.
Okay. Herb?
I'm all for the 5-year. I mean, we've had them now for 2 contracts.
We had this same thing, a 3-year and a 2-year extension.
Right.
Yeah, and I've heard very few complaints. Early on, there were about leaving trash cans in driveways, but that's been remedied. I
Mostly.
haven't heard any complaints, so.
Yeah, their supervisor's pretty sharp. I met with him a couple
I've
times.
seen more, like, trucks driving around, watching the guys picking things up
Yeah.
than in the past.
So the
maybe
5
they're
is
trying-
fine with me.
Maybe
Deb?
they're trying to curb the,
Problems before they
Yeah.
become problems.
I can see where the 5 would benefit us, but then if something else comes up, we're stuck for 5 years. That's my only thing on that. Yeah, I guess the 5-year.
All right, and I vote on the 5-year also, so I think that's the way we'll have them draw it up then, and we'll get that presented at the next meeting as well.
I have another question. Where do they dump the trash? Do they use our,
St. Clair
Dump?
County.
St. Clair
do
County.
they?
Yep.
They have
They
to.
don't, oh, do they?
I believe they have to
Yeah.
keep, the trash has to stay in.
Okay, I just wondered since it was a Canadian-based company, if they, and I know they send a lot of their garbage over
I was
here.
gonna
Yeah,
say Canadians.
right.
Canada's
Bring it over
busy
here.
bringing
Well, I
it
think
over
their
here.
home base
Yeah.
here is in Flint,
Yes,
at least it was years ago.
I
Okay.
believe so.
They come out of there.
All
Okay.
right.
I don't know if they still do, but when you talk to them, there was, well, one time we had this contract, they insisted on the clause, based on fuel price.
Fuel surcharge.
I don't know if they still do that or
That's the
not.
same, basically the same, this is basically an extension of our current contract.
Okay.
So there's still that surcharge for fuel and landfill pricing. But then they're also offering to keep us with our, I think it's 5 dumpsters around our municipality, free of charge. So,
That's a bonus.
I have noticed that, well, there was supposed to be a certain number of barrels that each, in an individual housing could put out. I have seen a great number out and piles of stuff, and they've never left anything.
Pretty good.
all right, any further discussion on that before we move on? All right, moving on to new business 5, landscape quotes for Township Hall.
Okay, I will read what the flyer that I made up, landscape quotes needed. Remove or resize beds at the driveway entrance, the 2 as you're coming in off of Recor Road. Basically, strip all that off, replant it with grass seed. Mulch the township hall beddings around the building, the front and the north side is mulch. The corner bed out at the corner of Record and M29 there, that's a huge bed. Basically, scale that down, get rid of all the rocks, plant grass seed, and then just do mulch circles around the trees. So it would be really simplifying for grass cutting purposes, the areas, and no more maintenance there. Basically clean up the middle island where the flagpole is here. And let's see. And then basically the trees, as you're coming in up the driveway, those would also be circled with mulch. I think there's 9 all over here and like 5 here. And then just this side of the south side of the township hall, that there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 trees, I think, close to the building. Those would also be mulched. So,
Could they not reuse the stone and put those around the tree so we don't have to keep paying for mulch all the time? And we already have the stone that they're going to.
no, because he said once you start trying to dig that stone up, it's all full of weed seeds and dirt. And it'll all be, because one of them suggested taking some of that stone and putting it in this bed here, where the
Yeah.
flagpole is, and just leaving that how it is. Take the bricks out, because they're basically falling over. So one contractor did suggest that. So I guess the easiest, neatest way to keep these up so they look presentable is what we'll end up with. And then there was a separate quote for weed control because we always had weed control in the past. We did a 3-year contract. Doesn't look like we've been doing that in a while. So I did get separate quotes for that as well, and those are on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, there's drastic price differences.
There
in
is. Right.
Kevin doesn't want the job.
No, doesn't
Neither
he do
does
stuff
Andy.
for us too?
For what you've just described, I'm surprised at the prices. I think somebody's looking to make a little money.
Is there a chance that we could get copies of the quotes
Sure,
to reference and not make a decision tonight?
certainly.
Because I think there's some dramatic price differences in here. I think we need to,
Yeah, I'd like to see exact details of what each one is going to do.
I mean, an itemized.
Yeah.
I'll just make copies of the quotes,
okay.
or we will for the next. So we want to table it?
Yeah, I would like to table that till the next meeting also.
Okay.
Do you want to address the weed and feed part?
We could, yeah.
We've already missed the spring application, obviously, so we would basically be at probably the number 2 and number 3, which is a summer and then a fall for weed and feed again.
And this is a 3-year contract also,
Correct.
so
I'm sorry, is that 3 applications in 1 year?
Correct.
Okay.
The first one would be crabgrass pre-emergence and fertilizer, then late spring weed and feed, and then early fall weed and feed.
it'll be $530 for the rest of this year and $807 for the following 2 years per year with Kevin's.
And
Right.
what area does that encompass?
That is from Recor Road to M29. There's like a pine tree edge far on the property line here, that before the field, that's where they're going to.
Okay,
Just
on
past
Park,
the-
and Park Road, right?
Correct. Yep,
Pretty good size.
right. It is.
All right. I will make a motion to hire Kevin's for the 3-year contract, skipping the first application of 2021. So 2021, we'd have 2 applications at $530 each. Year 2 would be 3 applications at $807. And year 3 at 3 more applications at $807.
Okay.
Support.
We have a motion, we have support to hire Kevin's for lawn, weed, and feed. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Clerk Smith, yes. Supervisor Roush?
Yes. All right. And then as far as landscape quotes, we will table that and bring that back at the next meeting.
Come back, okay.
All right,
Do we need to vote on tabling it?
yeah, we probably should. So we get a motion to table that landscape quotes.
I move that we table the landscape quotes until we receive more detailed information on each quote.
I
Support.
We have a motion and support to table new business 5. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, new business number 6. Response to trustee Knott's request for discussion about the transfer of funds from the Sewer and Water Authority budget.
Yeah, I'm just bringing this up again. I have not been able to find out. This is another instance where I've found a transfer of funds that I do not believe the board had anything to do with. And this particular one caught my attention because I was just in a meeting with earlier this year, or earlier this month, I guess, last month, with Water Sewer Rate Commission, where we were given diagrams that shows, the sewer fund in particular, is not in really good shape. We're increasing the percentage increase, or that's being recommended in order to get it back up. And here I look at the revenue and expenditure report that they handed us last time, and it says we are transferring out of the sewer fund $100K and putting it in the Township Improvement Fund. It really surprised me because I thought pretty much you may have to be doing exactly the opposite. And so I don't know why that was done. There's a bunch of stuff on this back page that frankly I do not understand unless they have created another fund someplace that they're feeding. But I would recommend that we do not take large amounts out of the sewer fund until it becomes solvent. And I think that should be, that should be rescinded. What do you call it? Amended to zero. Unless there's some really good reason for it, and I haven't been able to find one.
Is this something that was put into place in 2019? Because it's dated at the top, 2019.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me, was it got put in place, and it's basically just a transfer of funds. The money was put into a budget somewhere.
Well, it has not been it is in the budget as a prospective transfer from a fund that's already in a red. You guys don't have one of these. This is the one we got last week. The fund's already $96,000 in the hole. They have yet to transfer the $100K. It just doesn't make any sense. I would just, I've been asking around. I cannot find a reason why it's done like that. And I recommend that we, as a board, cancel that particular
Transfer.
It has not yet been done according to the last revenue and expenditure report we got. The transfer has not yet been done, made. Still shows the available balance is still $100K. So, and I'm frankly, if somebody can tell me there's a good reason for taking this money out of the fund, I'll shut up.
Was this part of our, I don't recall if this was through the discussions earlier when we started the asset management program.
I can't help you with this one right now. We have to, kind of revisit what the previous rate committee, what their actions and recommendations were and whether those were carried through or not.
Okay.
I can't speak to this one really at all. It will be investigated when we meet again with the rate committee, because this is definitely something that is going to be a factor as to what, the final outcome is as far as rates and funding the SRF loans. But at this point, I'm not sure how to answer any questions with regard to this right now. I can only call it kind of a placeholder, something that is in there as a reminder, because at one time it was recommended that there be some way to fund this capital, and without specific direction, and it was put into the budget as a reminder to, for no other better word to say.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I remember when we started that commission, we started looking at our asset management, there was a lot of placeholders
Right.
as a starting point. So that's why I just can't recall if any of this direction came out of that, the initial meetings.
And the total of annual expenditures at the bottom of this totals the exact amount that's in our minutes of the public hearing for the grant funding for improvements, $3,125,158. So it's definitely connected there. But maybe never officially adopted.
They're gonna have to take money from several different
Right.
locations, funds, to pay for some of the things that we're planning on doing. And one of the places I would expect them to take it from would probably be the Township Improvement Fund, maybe some from the general fund, and maybe some from the sewer fund, if we can, once the rates are up. And if they're moving that into another fund where they're gonna keep track of how much it costs to pay off some of these loans, but just to say we're gonna take it out and move it right now, doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I think it ought to stay right where it is, so we know how much money is in that sewer fund. Particularly since, like I say, it's 96 grand in a hole as of the last report we got. It doesn't make any sense to take more out. What I would recommend is that we direct that this transfer not be made unless there's a whole lot better explanation provided to this board. I mean, we can leave it alone as far as the paperwork, just don't make the transfer.
All right, so, yeah, maybe we
We should make that a motion then,
may make that a motion.
so it's in the minutes.
At least postpone this until the water rate committee.
You're gonna have water rate commission, there's gonna be some other stuff, but, you know, I don't want the money taken out of the sewer fund until we figure out what's going on, because it doesn't, you know, all it will do is make the sewer fund worse. And it's not good now.
All right, do you want to make that motion to postpone this?
I can move that the transfer out of the sewer fund to the capital project fund that is currently budgeted for an amount of $100,000 be held in abeyance until further direction of this board.
Do I have support?
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support to hold on to this transaction until further notice. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, moving into announcements. I have, any announcements to be made? All right, member comments. We'll start with, Mr. Ridgely,
I've got nothing, thank you.
Mr. Knotts.
I've got several things. First off, I don't know how much the board is aware of 2040 River Road, a blight issue. House has been abandoned for about 2 years, as far as I can tell from Mr. Light. Place is a mess. There's a couch on the front porch, trash all over the
Next to
yards.
Speedy Q.
You may, how much you know about this, I know Cindy knows about it. She said something about it. What I'm wondering is, what are we doing about it? How many, have they got, how many blight tickets have they got? Don't they get charged, what's $500 a ticket if they don't comply under a certain period of time? If they don't comply, shouldn't they get another ticket?
Yeah,
Do we need to go to court and get permission to enter the outside of the property, at least just clean up the yard around the house? God knows what it looks like inside.
Yeah, we created, or not created, but we, what was that, reactivated the dangerous building committee.
Well, we
but-
have an ordinance.
Yeah,
And at some point in this process, that person would need to be appointed. You will still need to appoint if you need to go that route, but it does have to go through basically, you're gonna get your code enforcer, you get 10 days, your second notice, you get another 10 days, and then there's another time frame, and then the final stop is dangerous buildings. And so you have to appoint someone who would make that determination, and that's your only legal recourse.
Can you take it to court? Take them to court?
That's where it would end up. If your dangerous buildings official deems it a dangerous building, then you can take legal action, but only that person
Okay.
can make that.
What can we do to just go in and clean the damn yard up?
Can't do
Why
that.
not?
it's private
Private
property.
property.
We've been to court in the past for blight issues. Didn't work out real well for the township, unfortunately. It was like,
Well, if I bow to her knowledge, but we need to get started on that.
Well, it is in
It's
process.
no longer,
Yeah, it's in
Everything's
if
in
they can
process.
spend 2 years sitting over there, that place is a mess.
Right, we're charging them to cut the grass.
How about the
Ever so
county health official?
No, there's nothing to be done with regard to that. We did investigate.
Rats?
No.
I'm told there are jars of urine in the backyard. That's a
No
health issue.
jurisdiction.
Huh?
There's no jurisdiction from the health department at all.
we have been cutting the grass.
Yep, so
Taxes.
I guess we could, we'll just let you know the next update when we get it, the next step.
You know, we
where we're at with
charge people to cut their grass if they don't cut it.
We are.
Why can't we do something with cleaning up their yard if they don't clean it up?
it. Yeah, it's a personal items on
We
private
have an
property.
ordinance about tall weeds, noxious weeds.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Pardon me?
enforcing.
That's it.
Yeah, the ordinance is
Basically.
just on the weeds and the grass, so.
Do we need an ordinance? I mean, how do we go after these people? Leaving that place over there like that is really criminal with respect to the other residents around there have to live with it.
Yeah, we could look into an ordinance
All
on
right,
that.
I'll
Well,
shut,
so I would, again, we've had this
Right.
conversation.
Yeah.
Caution you with regard to how far you want to go. I mean, if you pass an ordinance, it better be very specific,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it
You have to
can
have somebody to
then,
back it up, too.
it can
Yeah.
then, how you can enforce it, and then it can become an issue of, do you really want to write all these ordinances limiting the private property owner rights, because you're kind of stepping
Probably
into
not.
some.
Wasn't there something in the property maintenance code in
Yes,
the
and
building?
that's the direction this is going.
Okay,
That's part of this. That's the
yeah.
final step. Local jurisdiction, we have to go through our processes as our ordinances are stated.
Okay.
We have to give them every opportunity to comply, and then we end up with the dangerous buildings. Right now, that's the only option to take.
hasn't he been already nailed for blight?
Blight, yes, and then it's,
I mean, haven't we
we
taken
don't
some
have
of
a
this
blight
stuff?
ordinance, though. So we have a noxious weeds ordinance, and so that is the one that we are able to manage on our own and charge the property owner for that.
Well, then we've already taken some steps toward what you were talking about,
Yes.
we're not, you a minute ago, you talked like we needed to get started.
No, it's in process.
Yeah.
The code enforcement has sent letters describing how they are in violation of the property maintenance code. Not just our ordinances, but the property maintenance code. So they need
Okay.
to comply with that because that's what we've adopted as a township to enforce.
Okay.
It has to go through the channels, the multiple warnings and the timeframes to respond. And then the township has the option to engage the dangerous buildings official.
How far are we on that, into that
I
process?
honestly don't know offhand.
Well, I'd sure like to
Within
find
the
that
month, I
out.
would suggest you definitely want to have that in place if you want to act.
We do a little
I
research on
think we
that.
ought to kind of keep track of this. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if somebody brings it up at almost every meeting. Okay. See what else I wrote down here. Oh, the other thing I'd just like to comment on, I know we occasionally cut the grass. There's an empty lot that we finally got the house tore down about several years ago on the corner of Riverside by Riverside Park. The lawnmower guy needs to revisit it.
Is it vacant still?
Pardon me?
Is it still a vacant lot?
Yep.
What road is it?
I'm trying to remember what the corner is. It's Riverside, you know where Riverside Park is? It's right on the corner of, faces Riverside Street, right beside the park. Is it Elm? Might be
Might
Elmwood,
be.
I'm not sure what the name of the other street is.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, we
So
had a
that's
time-
not-
We had a heck of a time with that one and finally got it tore down.
Right.
But that took a long time.
So the township does not own that property, correct? It's still
No, as
private?
far as I know, it's one of those ones where they
No.
cut it and they put it on somebody's taxes, but since the lady that owned the property hasn't paid them in years, must be getting to be a hell of a bill by now. I don't know what the status of that
I
particular
can't
one is, but
remember
I know
either.
the guys that used to, we had a guy that belonged to the township that cut grass. I noticed that Kevin and his people are now doing the grass over at the park. But when the township guy did it, about every 6 months or whatever, once a summer, while he was out there cutting the park, he took that tractor and ran it around
Brush hog.
knocked the stuff down, but it's probably about that high right now.
Okay.
And there's animals running around, all that stuff, but needs to be taken care of one way or the other. Just bring it up, that's all. And I have nothing else, thank you very much.
Ms. Babel?
I'm all set.
just congratulations to all the seniors from Marine City and St. Clair. It's a very big week for them, so congratulations.
Agreed. Nicole, is your heart?
No, I was just gonna ask about the status of the compensation committee, but I see from the report it'll be presented at next meeting.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Clerk Smith?
Yes, I want to thank Cindy, the township manager, and Corinne for all their hard work on the chart of accounts. They got through it and met the deadline, and it was quite a task. There were over 2,000 line items that were reviewed, and some things changed and updated, and we got it. We got the deadline. So thank you.
All right, I don't have anything tonight either, so, look to adjourn the meeting here at 8:16 on, June 7th.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and a support to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you all. Meeting adjourned.